or you can follow along on your own.
I don't know what it is. No. I said, please be seated.
You're still under oath. Did you get a copy?
We have a copy for him.
Very good. Mr. Bashara, you're still under oath.
I wasn't given a copy, were I?
We're giving them, once you get up there and get situated and get comfortable.
I'm sorry, I thought you said, were you given a copy, and I wasn't.
You may, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, madam. Go ahead, madam.
Thank you. Sir, could you turn to page 14 of the transcript of 6/19/2012. Let me know when you got there.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that maybe it might be useful if it goes into tomorrow or another day, that we can use that projector and then we can actually put it up on the screen. It'll make it a little bit easier.
Whatever the court wants to do.
Okay, very good. Go ahead.
Okay, so you want me to go continue right now?
Yeah, but it's going to take some time, and I'm going to stop today at 3:45.
Okay.
You'll be done by that time?
No, Judge.
I was just being optimistic. Go ahead.
But, Your Honor, can I just put something on?
What?
With regard, my client has already pled guilty to this offense with regard to Joseph Gent. I don't understand what the relevancy is of going into this area.
Mr. Ambrose, don't ask about asking irrelevant questions and getting latitude. I gave you a lot of latitude to put forth your theory, as well as to give your client an opportunity to take the stand to indicate what he would have said. Now, give sister counsel that same deference. Overrule, come on. But I do agree to a degree.
As it relates to this, it goes to the defendant's statements that he is not guilty in any way, shape, form, or fashion. This goes to does he have the requisite states of mind that would be necessary to
Okay, well, he pled guilty.
No, I'm talking about the requisite, because as the court remembers, our theory is under 404B that these acts show his pattern as it relates to the
Okay, but as Mr. Ambrose
so,
said, he's been convicted, okay? So let's just go to what's an emotion, but I'm going to give you a little latitude.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. Page what now?
Page 14.
I'm there.
Okay. And now you were talking about you wanted the killing done to avenge your wife's death. Is that correct? That's what you said.
That's correct.
One of the things on your mind when you were talking about Mr. Tabata was the fact that Gintz was going to cut a deal. Is that correct?
Mr. Tabato mentions that here, yes.
Okay. Well, further, don't you say he already is. He's testifying against me. He's cutting a deal against me. I'm telling you, hey, so you are also likewise thinking that Gintz is cutting a deal against you. Is that correct?
According to Mr. Grimm, that's what he told me that was going on.
So my question to you is was that your belief?
Yes.
Thank you. And as it relates to what you said about having Joe Dent killed to avenge Jane's death, that was your justification for engaging in that conduct. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, in your mind, if you can justify or you have justification for something, you can in fact hire someone to kill, correct?
No.
But you just said that was your justification, correct?
In that situation, yes.
That's what I'm saying. So, if you, in that situation, you justified it in your mind so you could form the requisite state of mind to have someone killed, correct?
Repeat the question again, I'm sorry.
In that situation, you formed a justification that allowed you to form the requisite state of mind to have somebody killed, correct?
Yes.
And that was because it was something you felt you needed to do, correct?
No.
It was something you felt needed to be done, correct?
No.
I'm having a hard time following you here. You want to avenge Jane's death, correct?
Yes.
And that fed your need for vengeance, correct?
No.
Well, what did it do?
If you'd like me to explain, I will.
No, I want you to answer the question directly. Either it fed your need for vengeance or it didn't feed your need for vengeance.
Yes, it did.
And that need on your part was greater than the needs of your children, correct?
No.
Well, didn't you think it would adversely impact your children if you were caught up in that and you ended up in jail?
I wasn't thinking.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's explore that a little bit. When your needs are uppermost in your mind, you don't think about other people. Is that correct? Or in that situation, you didn't, correct?
No, it wasn't correct. That's not correct.
You said you weren't thinking. You just said that, correct?
I wasn't thinking.
Okay.
Clearly, no.
So if you weren't thinking about the needs of your children, correct?
I was thinking about the needs of my children. All the time I did. In this situation, I was confused. Mr. Tabata offered me...
Wait. Didn't you, when I asked you earlier, didn't I ask you weren't drunk, correct?
No, I was not.
You didn't say earlier that you were confused.
You didn't ask me that.
Okay, so this confusion lasted for 3 days?
This confusion lasted for months.
Okay, well let's go with that. So you were confused on the day when you talked about against cutting a deal, correct? Correct?
Yes.
You were confused when you thought Tabaro arranged it, is that correct?
At what?
You were confused when you talked to Tabaro about arranging the hit, correct?
Yes, I was.
Okay. But you were...
Can I define confused? Okay.
You're going to get an opportunity with your lawyer.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Your Honor, excuse me.
That's fine. Go ahead.
But you weren't so confused that you forgot to pat him down, correct?
I didn't hear you.
You
What?
weren't so confused that you forgot to pat him down, correct?
I did pat him down, yes.
So you weren't so... If you could just answer yes or no, sir. You
Your
weren't
Honor,
so confused.
He's trying to answer the
Well, he's
question.
not.
I mean, if it calls for a little explanation, I think my client should be entitled to a little leeway.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. You weren't so confused that you didn't pat him down, correct?
Yes.
You weren't so confused that you whispered at parts you knew were incriminating, correct?
No, that's not true.
You whispered at certain parts during the solicitation.
That's because other people were around.
Exactly. You whispered because you didn't want them to hear, correct?
That's correct.
So you weren't so confused that you tried to avoid detection, correct?
No, that's not true.
You didn't want people to hear, correct?
About what I was talking about, but it
Yes.
wasn't necessarily about what you're talking about.
You weren't whispering during the plotting of killing him.
No, I wasn't. Hang on, restate that question.
You indicated indicated that other people were around, correct?
Many times.
Okay.
And those are the times I was whispering.
Okay. And those were the times you were talking about killing Joe Gintz, correct?
Not every time, no.
Most of the time, correct?
No, not most of the time.
Some of the time.
Some of the time.
Okay. And some of the times when you were whispering is because you didn't want people to hear that part, correct?
That's correct.
Because you knew it was incriminating, correct?
Yes.
So you weren't so confused that you didn't know when you were saying something incriminating, correct?
Yes.
Now, you're saying that this killing was not related to Joseph Gintz's competency exam, is that correct?
Absolutely not.
Well then, could you turn to page, page 24? And you're saying it's not related to getting it done for his competency, correct?
Yep.
And you're saying there was no specific deadline for him to get it done. When I say him, there was no specific deadline for Mr. Tabata to get it done, correct?
I don't know that.
I'm asking you.
I don't recall us discussing a deadline, no.
You don't recall discussing a deadline?
No.
Okay. Play it, please. Did you hear yourself say something's got to happen in the next 2 weeks?
I didn't hear that, no.
Okay. You
But
said-
I'm reading it here.
Okay, you want to step down and put your ear close to the
Play it
Why
again.
don't you just move those move that speaker to a microphone, and then we can all hear it.
Just play it again. I'll listen more carefully.
We'll do it the way the judge wants it done.
So Mr. Bashir, is that all right?
You're the judge.
Thank you. Ready? Can you get to a microphone? Those aren't the microphones.
Oh, which one? Oh,
Just the one, that one.
this one?
Yeah.
It won't reach.
Just play it again. I'll listen.
Wait a minute, 1 second.
The scanner's the one upstairs?
It's take down. I don't know if it's take down. Did you hear it?
I heard that. Something's going to happen in the next 2
It
weeks.
says something's got to happen in the next 2 weeks. Tabata asked a question, why are they moving him? Answer no, and then there's some inaudible. So you said got to happen in the next 2 weeks. Why did it have to happen in the next 2 weeks?
I have no idea why I said that.
Okay. And you were aware that Joe's competency hearing was coming up, is that correct?
I didn't know when it was.
Okay. You weren't following it in the papers?
No.
Okay. But you
Mr. Grimm was telling me that it's going to be happening sometime, but he
in the
did.
next 2 weeks, correct?
No, he didn't say that. I didn't know when he said that.
But anyway, you gave him, Mr. Tabata, a deadline. It got to happen in the next 2 weeks. Is that correct?
I said that to him, yeah.
Okay. And would you be surprised to know that Mr. Gintz's competency exam was coming up in that time period?
I didn't know when.
Okay. Now, you didn't meet with Mr. Tabata again until 6/22, is that correct? You did it on
I don't
6/22.
recall when I met with him
Okay.
next.
Well, the transcript shows that the next contact was 6/22.
Okay.
That's a couple of days later, is that correct?
I'll believe you if you tell me that. Am I going to 6/22?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, a couple of days have passed, is that correct?
From 6/19 to 6/22, yes.
And certainly, you have an opportunity to back out, is that correct?
Yes.
And certainly, there was nobody forcing constant pressure on you to meet with Mr. Tabano, is that correct?
To do what to Mr.
To
Tabano?
meet with Mr. Tabano, is that correct?
No.
And you voluntarily, you initiated contact with him, is that correct?
Initially, no, I did not.
I'm not talking about initially, we're talking about 622 now, right?
622, I don't recall who initiated what. I think he was bringing me an appliance.
So that was the 19th is when you met with the appliance.
Oh, was that the 19th? Okay.
622 was at his store.
Okay.
Certainly, you went to his store, is that correct?
Yes.
And you weighed the pros and cons of your conduct before going there, correct?
Pardon?
You weighed the pros and cons of your conduct before going there, correct?
I don't think I even thought about it.
You don't think you even thought about it.
Right.
So is this when you're into the sudden impulse part?
No, I'm into the confusion part.
Okay.
I was in,
But you weren't so confused that you didn't arrive at the store, correct?
I did arrive at the store. I
And
could drive.
You weren't so confused that you stopped talking about the deal, is that correct?
No.
622, page 25, could you turn to 622, page 25? And this would be, I think, there's two 622s is the one that goes past page 25, sir. Are you there?
I am.
Okay, you want to read it to yourself and let me know when you're ready?
I have read it. The highlighted part you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
And once again, on 620, you got that, Mr. Hinderline? Can we play it? 625, page, 622, page 25, starting with Mr. Bashara. Going to cut the deal.
Your own?
I would have to involve someone else helping, but not me. Although I don't took my life, there's no reason to. She was making $125 a year. Her and I got along great.
Now, you're talking once again about against cutting the deal, is that correct?
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And you said, why would I kill my wife, correct?
Correct.
There's no reason to, correct?
That's correct.
The next thing you say, you don't
Okay, Mr. Bashir, I need you to pull that microphone closer to your mouth, sir.
Sorry.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
and then he has his hand in front of his mouth.
And you,
I think that-
please, can you put that down? Thank
Yes,
you,
I'm
sir.
sorry.
No, pull it a little closer. Excuse me, Deputy.
Can you hear me?
Just pull it right
No, it's fine. I'll speak up.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
You said, there's no reason to, correct?
That's correct.
Now, the next thing you say, you don't say, I love my wife, do you? The very next thing you say.
You're going to put it right where you are. I do not say that, no.
Okay. The very next thing you say is, she was making $125 a year.
Correct.
Okay. So, when you're addressing Mr. Tabano about the reasons not to kill your wife, you don't say, I didn't want to kill my wife because I loved her. You're putting a monetary value on your wife. Is that correct?
That was one reason, yes.
So that was correct, right?
Okay, repeat the question because
Okay.
I see what's written.
Okay. She's making $125 a year. That's what you said, correct?
Yes.
You did not say, I wouldn't kill her because I love her, correct?
I did not say that in this sentence, no.
Well, this is all I'm asking you about, right?
Correct.
Thank you. And you say her and I got along great.
Yes, that's true.
And once again, you don't say I love my wife, correct?
Not to Steve Tabano, no.
Now, you are indicating that Mr. Tabano was basically the architect of this plan, correct?
Absolutely he was.
Okay, but you're giving him details about where Mr. Gents is being housed, is that correct?
I think it was common knowledge.
But the question is, did you specifically tell Mr. Tabata where Gents is being held?
I think I did, yes.
Okay, and you told him Dickerson.
And I what?
You told him Dickerson, correct?
Dickerson, yes.
And during this meeting on 6/22, you say you're still confused, correct?
I've been confused for a long time, yes.
Okay, so, but on 6/22, once again, you check Mr. Tabata for a wire, correct?
I don't recall.
Okay, turn to page 37, please.
Okay?
Are you there?
I am. You want me to read this, right?
Let me know when you finish.
Okay? I'm done.
Okay, and once again, you're asking him, I hope you're not wearing a wire, correct?
Right.
But notwithstanding the fact that you claimed you're confused, you were not so confused that you weren't looking out for your best interest, correct?
Yes. But the answer to your previous question was,
Sir.
did I pat him down? And I said no.
My question, okay, well, you're saying you didn't pat him down at all on the 22nd?
I don't recall doing that, no.
Well, let me back up then. Let me
Okay.
rephrase my question.
Sure.
You weren't so confused that you didn't inquire as to whether he was wearing a wire, correct?
Right, I did inquire that.
And that was because you weren't so confused that you were not looking out for your own best interest, correct?
I didn't want to be caught on this, yes.
That is correct.
Right.
But even throughout your confusion, your concern was to do this in a manner that would minimize your chances of being caught, correct?
Yes.
And you were determined to have this done, notwithstanding the fact that you could be detected, correct?
I didn't hear the last part
You
of
were
that.
determined to have this done, notwithstanding the fact that you might be detected, correct?
Again, I was confused. I didn't even play into it.
Okay.
My wife was murdered.
I understand that, sir, but my question to you was very specific.
Right.
You were determined and nothing was deterring you at this point, correct?
Nothing was what?
Deterring you at this point, correct?
No, nothing was.
Not the consequences that we're going to have to you, correct?
I didn't even think about that.
Okay. And you didn't even think about the consequences it would have to your family, correct?
No?
Because when you're determined to do something, you're only concerned about yourself, correct?
No, not at all. Not true.
In this instance, correct?
No, it's not true at all.
But you just said it.
What I...
You just said it, sir.
Okay.
So in this instance, you are only concerned about yourself, correct?
No, I wasn't concerned about myself. I was concerned about avenging the death of my wife.
Because you already said it was your need to do it, correct?
It was what?
Your need to do it, correct?
Well, if it was my need, I felt it was my duty as her husband to avenge her death.
Did you feel that strongly about your wife when you were taking other women into her marital bed?
Pardon me?
Did you feel that strongly about your wife when you were taking other women into her marital bed?
Absolutely, I felt strongly about my wife.
Okay. And you took more than one woman into your marital bed, correct?
Yes.
You took Benita Porter into your marital bed.
One time.
You took Rachel Gillette one time.
Correct?
Well, that's 2 times.
So tell me all the women you took into your wife's marital bed.
One more.
Okay, tell me about that.
It was with Rachel, a woman named Cordell.
Okay, so you were with, so there were a total of 3 women at 2 times.
That's correct.
Okay. And you're saying that you loved your wife, correct?
Very much.
And you knew that that would be very hurtful to your wife, correct, if she found out, correct?
Pardon me?
You knew that would be very hurtful to your wife if she found out that you were bringing other women up into her marital bed, correct?
I didn't even think about that, quite frankly, no.
Okay, just like you didn't
Well,
think
wait a
about
minute, hold on for a minute. Why did you take them into the marital bed when your wife was not there? Why?
Because the one woman was from out of town and needed a place to stay, so she stayed overnight.
And you mean to tell me you had all of these apartments, you only could think to take them into your marital bed, not into your kids' bedroom, why in your house?
Well, my apartments are unfurnished, for one. Okay, the
You
woman...
were concerned about comfort?
Absolutely. The size of the bed, absolutely.
Okay. And you couldn't think to take them somewhere else?
No, I didn't. It was easy and convenient, so I did that.
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
and you
Lee.
had relations with them in your wife's marital bed, correct?
Yes.
Sexual, right?
We did not have sex, no.
But you had intimate relations.
Intimate.
Yes.
People were naked, correct?
Pardon me?
Were they
People
naked?
were naked, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Body parts was touching and bumping, correct?
Body parts were what?
Touching and bumping.
They were touching. I don't know about bumping.
Okay. Mouths were on different parts of people's bodies.
Correct?
All in your wife's marital bed, correct?
Correct.
And you knew that would be hurtful, correct?
Yeah, she found out, yeah.
But you had never intended for her to find out, correct?
That's correct, because that was our understanding.
Wait a minute, hold on for a minute. That was your understanding that you could bring women into your marital home when your wife wasn't there?
No, that wasn't our understanding. The understanding was, do what you want to do. I don't want to know about it. That was our understanding.
Go
So
ahead.
then you wanted to do something that was hurtful, that could have been potentially hurtful for your wife then.
No, I didn't want to.
Okay, the point is, if you didn't want to, why did you do it?
It's not a... You're turning this around, and I'll be
No,
real...
you just answer the question. Why did you do it?
Those 2 times because of convenience.
It was, so out of convenience, you were willing to risk hurting the woman you loved more than anything, correct?
I didn't even think of that as a scenario because she wasn't in town. She was gone, the house was empty, and...
What I'm asking you is,
Yeah?
potentially, just as you don't think she couldn't find out about it, it's still the potential there, correct?
There was, sure.
Okay. So the answer to the question is, your convenience trumped your wife's feelings in that instance, correct?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Now, getting back to the 22nd of June, when you were with Mr. Tabaro, you actually picked up his phone and saw Tim Matook's phone number in this phone. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that is a detective from the Wayne County Fire Department. Is that correct?
Yes.
And at that point, that was not enough to deter you from going through with your plan to have another human being killed, correct?
Yeah, it was enough to deter me.
But it didn't, did it?
No.
Because
I was confused.
This was another instance where either you weren't thinking or you were confused, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I should have walked away. That's exactly why I pled guilty, because I didn't walk away.
Okay, well, let's go a little bit further.
Okay?
You talked to Mr. Tabaro on the 22nd when you're talking about the money, correct?
I don't recall if that's the
Turn
day
to
of...
page 54, please.
54?
54, please. Are you there, sir?
Yes,
Down at the bottom of the page, talking to Steve Tabata, correct? And you're an educated man, is that correct, sir?
I am.
And you are,
Not in this situation, I wasn't, but yes.
okay. And you told him, once I pay the money, it's a fucking conspiracy again. That's what you said, correct?
Are those your words?
Let's play it.
I'm trying to, let me finish reading it.
Okay, just play. Did you hear that?
I was jarbled.
It was jarbled, but could you make it out?
Not really. I'm reading it. If that's what it said here, then yes.
That's what you said. Once I pay the money, it's a fucking conspiracy again. Correct?
Yeah, because that's what I was told. That's what I was told was the situation with that David Grimm told me. He said they're going to try to tell you you were conspiring to murder your wife, which I absolutely didn't do.
Okay, well, let me just ask you this. So you knew the word conspiracy meant agreeing with somebody to do something, correct?
Yes.
And you put the word again on the back part of it.
Correct.
Well, what was the first conspiracy?
Pardon?
Do you know what the word again means?
Yeah, to do something again, to do it a second time.
Okay.
Right.
So you said, once I pay this money, it's a fucking conspiracy again, right?
That's what I said.
What was the first conspiracy?
There was no first conspiracy
Well, then why did you use the word again?
because it was alleged that I conspired to kill my wife with Joseph Gens.
So how come you didn't say, once I pay you this money, it's a fucking alleged conspiracy again?
I don't know why I didn't say that. I said,
Maybe because you were confused?
probably.
Now, getting back to the whole thing about why you took the other women to your marital bed, there are motels and hotels nearby, aren't they? Are there not?
And where?
Are there motels and hotels nearby where your house is?
Not that close, no. The closest one is the Parkrest.
And how far away from your house is that?
5 miles, 6 miles.
Okay, how much time would it
Well, wait a minute. Hold on for a minute. I got one better than that. Why don't you just take them to the dungeon
Because the bed's not big enough.
for all three of you?
Correct.
Okay.
So you rather, because the bed's not big enough for the dungeon, your choice
Plus,
is...
she needed a shower. And there's no shower in the dungeon. And quite frankly, the hotel up there was not that clean and dirty, and I didn't want to be checking. There was no reason for me to check into a hotel when I had a house.
And your wife's dead.
You know, you keep talking about that, okay? That didn't even come into my mind that what bed that I was in. It was a bed.
It didn't come into your mind...
If this was your home, with your children and your wife,
My children were gone.
irrespective of your children gone.
I'm a terrible person then, but I didn't murder my wife.
That's not the
Your Honor.
question that's before you, witness.
Yeah.
The question was, why did you bring these women into your marital home that you share with your family?
Because the family was gone.
And because they're
I
gone,
needed a place to...
excuse me,
Yes.
your wife was gone taking your daughter away to find schools. The fact that they were gone doesn't make that less of their home, does it?
Then you know what? Then I'm a terrible husband.
That's not my question.
Well, that's what you're implying.
No, that's not. If I wanted to ask you that, I would ask you.
Go ahead.
I asked you, why did you take them there? When you knew that that was a home that you shared with your children and your wife was away taking your daughter to school, to look at school.
Because she needed, the woman needed a shower.
And her need for a shower was greater than the respect and dignity you gave to your family. Yes or no?
Yes.
Now,
Next question.
okay. So, let's get to the actual day when you pay the money. You indicate you're confused, is that correct?
Did what?
The day you paid each about all the money.
Okay.
$625. 2 days have again passed. Well, actually 3 days have passed since your last contact with me, correct?
You know, excuse me one second. Your Honor, I'm going to say no to that question. I absolutely not. my needs were not greater
Well,
than the
that's-
love from my
that's
wife.
fine. Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to retract that statement.
Okay,
That
very
yes.
good.
Make it a no.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
We got you. Okay.
Go ahead, repeat your question.
Your next face-to-face meeting with Steve Tabata was on 6/25, June 25, 2012, correct?
If you say so, I don't recall when.
Okay.
If you don't recall, don't say if you say so. If you don't recall,
I don't
you
recall.
don't recall.
That's
Okay,
what-
yeah.
turn to the transcript then. The next transcript on 6/25.
Okay, what page?
You need to turn to the front of the binder.
I'm here, 625.
Okay, good. So that reflects your next meeting with Mr. Tabata, okay?
Okay.
Does that reflect your recollection?
No, but if you're telling me that is, then I believe
Well,
you.
at any rate, at your next meeting with Mr. Tabata, some days had gone past, correct?
Okay?
Is that a yes? You keep saying, okay, that's not a
Well,
yes. You have to say
ma'am,
correct or not
I-
correct.
If 625 was the next meeting, then yes, then that was our next meeting.
All I'm asking you is that there was some time passage between the last time you spoke to Mr. Tabata and the next time you spoke to Mr. Tabata,
Yes.
correct? And during this time, you were away from him and you had a chance to clear, or did you have a chance to clear your head?
No, my head was still, no, I was a mess.
Okay, you were a mess. And part of the reason you were a mess is because of the competency hearing of Mr. Jens was moving, is that correct?
No.
That wasn't in your mind at all.
Wasn't in my mind at all? No, I wouldn't say that. It was in my mind,
Well,
but it
then
wasn't.
that's what I just asked you, sir. So the fact that the competency hearing of Mr. Jens was pending is on your mind, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. So you see Mr. Tabata, but before you go into Mr. Tabata, you have to go to the bank, is that correct?
I went to the bank to get money.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I went to the bank, yes.
You can just answer. And you took out the money from the bank to pay Mr. Tabata, correct?
No, that's not correct.
You took out money from the bank and you just happened to have enough money that you took out to accommodate the amount that you talked to Mr. Tabata about, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So the fact that you went to the bank before you went to see Mr. Tabata was just by happenstance, correct?
No, I needed money for several other reasons.
Okay, let's see, maybe you needed money to hire a hit on somebody, you needed money to buy groceries, you needed what?
Are you asking me what I needed the money for? Yeah, I was short on funds, so I took, I think, actually, I didn't go, yeah, I did go to the bank, and I got $2,400. 200 of it I used, I put in my wallet. 200 of it I used at the casino, and the other 2,000 I saved for 6 appliances for Mr. Tabata.
Are you saying that for appliances and not to pay him for the hit?
That's correct.
Okay, so you're saying the money you gave him, now you're saying it's for appliances as opposed to the hit.
I changed my mind, yes, I did.
So that's why you gave him the 2,000.
Correct.
Okay. So did Mr. Tabata know you had changed your mind?
We picked out 6 appliances and he put sold signs on them each.
Okay, so you never did pay him the money for the hit that you you just testified previously earlier today that you paid the money.
He wanted I did it, he wanted $3,000.
Okay, I understand. Stop there.
Go ahead.
Earlier today,
Yeah.
not even 2 hours ago, you said you paid him money for the hit.
That's
Now
correct.
you're saying you didn't pay him money for the hit. Which is it?
Okay. Miss Lindsay,
Which is it? A simple question. Which is it? Did you pay him money for the hit, or did you not pay him money for the hit?
I paid him money for the hit,
Thank
but
you.
then...
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you. Now,
Let's take a stretch break.
okay.
Stand up, everybody. You want to stand up, Mr. Bashara?
I'm good, thank you, Your Honor.
You may be seated.
Okay. Page 6, could you turn to page 6 on the 25th? Now, you just told this court under oath that you had changed your mind, is that correct?
As to,
Paying him money for the hit. You keep waffling back and forth whether you did or didn't, correct?
I changed my mind towards the end of the end of this day, yes.
Okay, let's hear what it says on this page.
play it.
And fucking Zion. Listen to me. I told you. I can only try. I got a cousin.
Okay, that's enough. So, you're asking, can you get it done?
Right.
That doesn't sound like you're changing your mind there, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Thank you. Now, during the same period of time that you are dealing with Mr. Tabato about this hit, you're also having contact with Paul Monroe, is that correct?
It was before, I'm quite sure it was before this.
During the month of June 2012,
Mhm.
did you in fact have phone contact with Paul Monroe?
Prior to Steve Tabato, yes.
And you're saying you didn't have phone contact with Paul Monroe at all during those days?
I don't recall when the contact was. I thought it was late part of May, early part of June. To be honest, I don't recall.
So you had contact with Mr. Tabato on 6/18, 6/19, 6/22, and 6/25, is that correct?
Repeat that, please.
6/18, 6/19, 6/22, and 6/25, is that correct?
I guess, yeah. Mhm.
Would you like to review your phone records to see what days you're having phone contact with Paul Monroe during that time?
I don't have them in front of me. You have it?
I asked you, would you like to review them? That was a yes or no.
Yes.
Thank you. Look at them, take as much time as you want,
Okay.
and we're done with these transcripts, so I can take them back.
Can I actually have a question about this
Be
one?
aware, I am done with these transcripts, we can take them back. Your counsel can ask you whatever he chooses.
Okay. Okay.
During the same period of time that you are having contact with Mr. Tabato, you are also having contact with Paul Monroe, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were having contact with Paul Monroe, he's a former tenant of yours, is that correct?
He was not. No, that is not correct.
Well, he was the boyfriend of a former tenant of yours, correct?
That is correct.
And he was living in an apartment with the former tenant, April Montgomery, I believe was her name.
That is correct.
Okay. And you knew Paul Monroe to sell drugs, is that correct?
I can't understand you when you're facing the other
You
way.
knew Paul Monroe sold drugs, is that correct?
I had no idea he sold drugs. Absolutely not.
You knew Paul Monroe had a criminal record, is that correct?
No, I did not. I knew nothing about Paul Monroe other than he was the boyfriend of April Montgomery.
And you also knew that you were trying to get him to make a statement for you, is that correct?
I didn't hear you.
You also were trying to get Paul Monroe to make a statement for you, is that correct?
No, I did not. That is incorrect.
That is incorrect. You had Paul Monroe have contact with your investigator, J.D., is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, if you weren't trying to get Paul Monroe, okay, let me back up here because I'm having a hard time following. J.D. was a private investigator that you and Grimm had hired to help find information about the killing of your wife, correct?
David Grimm hired J.D. on my behalf, yes.
Thank you for answering the question in such a succinct fashion. So, again, he was somebody, JD was somebody supposed to be helping in the investigation of the death of your wife, correct?
Correct.
And you put him in touch with Paul Monroe, is that correct?
No, it's not correct.
Okay, but at any rate, y'all all kind of hooked up together at some point, correct?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and that was the purpose of getting some type of information or statement from Paul Monroe, correct?
No, it was not, that's not, well, information, yes.
Okay. Information, and when an investigator or a police officer gets information from somebody, isn't it typically called a statement?
Yes.
Okay, so when I asked you, were you hoping to get a statement from Paul Monroe, the answer was yes, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. And as a matter of fact, you had told Stephanie Samuel, your cousin, that Paul Monroe had some information about the case, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you knew that Paul Monroe had called in a tip about the case, is that correct?
No, I did not know that.
You knew Paul Monroe told you Daryl Bradford had called in a tip about the case.
I'm sorry, what?
Paul Monroe told you that Daryl Bradford called in some information about the case.
No, he did not tell me that.
Okay. But at any rate, you had contact with Daryl Bradford, hadn't you?
No, I had not. I never met the man.
Okay. But at any rate, during the same days that you were having contact with Mr. Tabato, let's see, and you're having contact with Mr. Paul Monroe on your cell phone, is that correct?
Correct.
On your mother's cell phone, is that correct?
I think I did use her phone, yes.
And on your house phone, is that correct?
Probably, yes.
Okay. And you're having contact with Paul Monroe almost on a daily basis in June, is that correct?
For that period of time that I needed to get him to connect with Mr. Grimm, yes.
So the answer to that question is yes. So you're in contact with Paul Monroe on almost a daily basis, is that correct?
You know, I have to look at the records again. You've taken them away from me. I'll look at them. I think there were some days
Okay,
that...
let's look.
I don't think it was daily.
Start at 6-8 and just read each contact you had with him. Just
I'm
go.
going to renew my objection as to relevancy. My client pled guilty to this offense.
No,
I don't know where we're going with this.
not Paul Monroe. Paul Monroe testified at the trial that in June of 2012, the defendant confessed to him. So exploring the contact he had with Paul Monroe in
All
June
right,
of
to
2012
answer your question, it was the 9th, the 10th.
Okay, read each and every time because there's more than one call.
You want me to, how many on each day?
Yes, read them all.
Okay, I have 4 on the 9th.
Okay, no, I want you to read them all individually.
All right. We have an outgoing call. This is from,
Just the dates and the times.
pardon me?
The dates and the times will be sufficient.
Don't you want to know who's calling who?
The dates and the times will be sufficient. If your counsel wants to bring that out,
Okay, the date is the 9th for 6 seconds. The date is the 9th for 6 seconds. The date is the 9th for 7 seconds. The date is the 9th for 6 seconds. Those are all outgoing calls. The 10th,
You're calling him.
that's correct. Let me see, number dialed, no. Hang on, let me,
I'm just interested in the amount, the contacts, and the
okay.
daily contacts.
The 10th was, let me look at it here, 0 seconds. The 10th was 15 seconds, the 10th was 40 seconds, and the 10th was 0 seconds.
So we got the 9th and 10th you had contact. Was there any contact on the 8th?
There was no contact. I called. There was no...
No, I'm talking about contact between phone numbers. Whether you talk now is a horse of a different color. I just want to know, was phone contact ready phone contact?
Yes.
Was there anything on the 8th?
No.
Okay, so the 9th,
Not
10th,
that... Well, hang on. Let me look here. Hang on.
June 8th.
No, it's not on June 8th.
Okay, stop. You said the 9th and the 10th.
Correct.
Give me the next contact.
The 14th, which is 4 days later. The 15 days later, the 29th.
There's nothing on the 15th?
No, ma'am. The 29th again for 0 seconds. The
Are we talking about June?
No, you're talking about May. You
I
handed
asked you about June, sir. You flipped the page
Oh.
back.
June 10th and 9th. Okay, you want to go the 9th and 10th, right?
Yep.
Of June?
What's next?
Well, hang on, let's start with June. I was in May, so let's
I
start.
didn't ask you about May, I'm asking you about June. You started reading in June.
Okay, I misunderstood you, excuse me. There's one on the 9th, two on the 9th. Those are for, this is a duplicate, this is listed as duplicates. So that's listing these numbers twice.
Just say what you see on the
Just give
paper.
me,
I know, but it's
Just give me
listing
a
it.
Say what you see on the
give me the
paper.
date, sir.
Just say
Your
it.
Honor, he tried to.
Counsel.
It's listing it twice, Your Honor.
Okay, Peter, I tell you what, listen.
Ow.
Move on. We need the projector tomorrow.
Okay.
Can we get it?
Give it to me.
Can we get the projector tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll have it loaded up, but I'm just asking you.
On the June 9th, there's two for 21
I
minutes.
just want to ask the date.
Yes,
There was contact on the 8th, correct?
I can't,
He's gonna say he don't know.
Well, no,
I don't know.
I had it. Contact on the 8th.
you asked me to start at the 9th, but the 8th, yes, there's contact on the 8th.
9th,
Yes,
10th,
yes,
12th.
yes, not the 11th, but the 12th.
Did I ask you about the 11th, sir?
No,
Miss Lindsay, you can't
Okay.
stand that close. No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. We can't do this. I'm sorry.
Okay. 12th. Do we have extra copies of them?
Let's just go to another area. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Can you turn around and see?
Can you see, sir? Turn around. Can you zero in, you know, make it, can you do that? Okay, there it is.
All I-
okay, there's the 12th, yep, the
Okay.
13th, the 14th, the 15th.
The 18th.
I can't see that.
Go to the 18th.
Now I can.
Okay, can you see it?
Now I can see it. The 15th, it skips to the 18th, yes.
19th.
The 19th, the 20th,
21st.
I can't see that.
Can you?
21st, yes. 22nd, yes. 23rd, yes.
Okay. And 23rd,
24th, 25th, and 26th.
Okay, that's good. That's enough. Now, before I even start with all this whole thing, I think in the month of June, you had almost near daily contact with Paul Monroe, correct?
Your Honor, can we get a clarification on contact, because there is phone-to-phone?
That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about.
I just want it clear for the record, because she's insinuating that he actually talked to Paul Monroe on these occasions, and I don't think that's coming clear from the...
You can clear that up on your, I'm talking about
Well, I want the
contact.
record clear, Your Honor.
You get a chance, counsel.
Well, I want to know...
Excuse me, Counselor, could you explain contact to me?
Phone number to phone number at this point. That's all I'm talking about at this point.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's move on.
Okay, so there was almost daily phone number to phone number contact with Paul Monroe during the same period of time you are soliciting the hit on Mr. Yance, correct?
Yes.
And this is also during the same period of time where you have admitted that the competency hearing was one thing going on in your mind, correct?
Yes.
Now, you actually met physically with Paul Monroe in the month of June, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were in his car in the month of June, correct?
No, I was not in his car.
You heard Paul Monroe's testimony.
Yes.
Okay. And you're denying that any of that ever happened.
Absolutely, I'm denying it. What are you talking about?
No, specifically.
Yes.
Specifically, you're denying that you did cocaine in the car with Paul Monroe.
Absolutely.
Okay. You heard Jim Wilson say you did cocaine, correct?
Pardon me?
Did you hear Jim Wilson testify that you did cocaine?
Yes, I did hear that.
And that was true, correct?
Can we
In
get a
2000
frame, Your Honor?
time frame, yeah. What's the time frame?
Judge, if you want to...
What is the time frame you're asking me?
Counsel.
Did you ever do cocaine with Jim Wilson?
Yes.
Did you do cocaine with other people?
Yes.
How many other people did you do cocaine with?
Over my lifetime,
Yeah.
maybe a half dozen.
You were on the phone with Steve Miller, author, is that correct?
Correct.
And you talked to him about that. Is that correct?
I
Talk to him about what?
don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall telling Steve Miller you never did cocaine?
No, I do not recall saying that.
Do you recall telling Steve Miller that you didn't go to rehab for cocaine?
That I what?
Didn't go to rehab for cocaine?
That's correct. I never went to rehab for cocaine.
So, notwithstanding the fact that you did indulge in cocaine, you did not indulge in Paul Monroe's presence, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. And when you would go buy your cocaine, where would you go buy your cocaine from?
I didn't buy it. Jim Wilson gave it to me.
Okay. At the point of time when you're soliciting the hit on Mr. Yance, you're confused, correct?
Ma'am, from the date of my wife's death,
That's a yes or no.
Yes.
Thank you. You heard Mr. Shabbat say that you looked like a zombie during that point in time?
correct.
And you were looking like a zombie during that point in time, is that correct?
I don't know what a zombie looks like, but if he said I looked like a zombie, then
You were
yes.
out of sorts and confused.
I was out of sorts. I wasn't myself, correct.
Okay. And did you hear Mr. Monroe describe you as looking like out of sorts and everything during that period of time?
No, I did not hear that.
Okay, you don't remember that testimony?
He didn't say that to me.
No, I'm asking you about, do you remember that testimony?
No, I don't remember that testimony. From Paul Monroe saying that I looked out of sorts?
Yes.
I don't recall that.
Okay. Now, you're here today because you claim the lawyers did you a disservice. Is that correct?
Yes, one of my reasons for my appeal, correct.
Okay. Now, you also indicate that your lawyers talked you out of testifying, correct?
Most definitely.
And you have already indicated you pled guilty to the solicitation because you were guilty, correct?
I didn't walk away, yes, that's correct.
But you told people that your lawyer talked you into pleading guilty, correct?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And that would be Mr. Krieger.
Correct.
Okay. So now we got another lawyer who may have done you a disservice, correct?
I wouldn't say he did me a disservice. He said that you're better off to do this
Okay.
as opposed to taking it to trial.
Well, let me just ask you, if you knew you were guilty, why did someone have to talk you into pleading guilty if you knew you were guilty?
Because when you look at the evidence and you look at the transcripts and the testimony and the fact that I didn't pay him what he asked and I said I'm not interested in doing this at the end, that you didn't play for the media here, I should have taken it to trial. But you know what? I didn't walk away and I pled guilty.
Well, let's deal with this for a little bit. Notwithstanding the fact that you were guilty, you were going to take it to trial and hope you beat it, correct?
No,
Your Honor, he has a constitutional right to a trial.
That's not what we're addressing here.
If he wants
Move on, counsel.
Thank you. So, what you're saying is, even if you're guilty, and you knew you were guilty, you were hoping you could beat it by taking this trial, correct?
guilt is a matter of it's a matter of degree, and I was hoping that when the people heard the tape and they heard the testimony and they heard everything, especially him saying that, you know, you're going to laugh your ass off when you hear what the truth of this thing, that when they heard that they would understand that my confusion and my state of mind was affected, that I really made a poor judgment.
So you're minimizing your guilt.
I am, absolutely.
Okay. So let's hear what you told other people about being talked into pleading guilty.
I'm sorry, what?
Let's hear the tape where you're saying you were talked into pleading guilty.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, how are you?
I'm pretty bad.
Why?
Well, I just got out of court, and
Yeah.
I just, at the advice of Mark, and feeling like this is the best way to go because I was between a rock and a hard place, I pled guilty.
Why?
because he didn't think the trial would be successful.
Now, you also told other people, other family members, that they were misled by your previous attorneys, correct?
I'm sorry.
You told your family members.
Which family members are you talking about?
Let's look at the call on August 7, 2012 to 2012 call 2002.
This is just such a political, if I was a black man.
Well, that's another thing we can go into in a little bit. You indicated that you thought that this was a political situation, your prosecution. If you were a black man, you wouldn't be treated the way you were treated. You told people.
What, in regards to what?
The way the case was being handled.
What case are we talking about?
Your solicitation case.
If I repeat the question, if I was a black man,
Didn't you have Teresa Giffen, you and Teresa Giffen talk a lot about Wayne County, and the only reason they wanted to prosecute you in Wayne County because you were a white man, and if you were a black man, you wouldn't be treated this way. Do you recall those conversations you had with Ms. Giffen?
I think I had that conversation with her.
And do you recall having any conversations with your family members indicating that you don't believe everything they hear, that they were misled by your previous attorney? You recall that?
I don't recall that, no.
Now,
Which previous attorney are you talking about?
I don't know who you were referring to. Now, you had several friends in the BDSM community, is that correct?
Ma'am, you have to speak into the microphone.
You had several friends in the BDSM community?
Friends, no. Acquaintances, yes.
Okay. Do you know Robert Goddard?
Yes, I do.
And you considered him to be more than an acquaintance, is that correct?
More than a what?
An acquaintance.
Yeah, he was a customer of mine and a friend.
Okay. So didn't I just ask you previously, did you have friends in the BDSM
Your Honor,
community?
that's
And you
a
said acquaintance.
mischaracterization of, she said many friends in the community.
First of all, he wasn't in the BDSM community.
Sir Patrick?
Yes, he was, but he wasn't. I wouldn't consider him a friend. He was an acquaintance.
Okay. An acquaintance that you called while you were in the county jail, is that correct?
Patrick?
Patrick?
You're talking about Sir Patrick Webb or Bob Goddard?
Bob Goddard, I'm sorry, Bob Goddard.
Okay.
Bob Goddard, is he,
I did call him.
Bob Goddard was a friend, correct?
He was a friend and a customer.
Well, he was not in the lifestyle.
He wanted to get into the lifestyle and asked me to train him.
And he was
Okay.
Sir Patrick. He was referred to as Sir Patrick, correct?
Who? Bob Goddard?
Excuse me.
No,
What was,
it's confusing.
what was Bob Goddard's name?
I think I don't know. He called himself Sir Bob, I think. I don't know.
Okay.
Sir Bob now. I'm getting
Whatever he
confused.
came up with, I don't recall.
Okay, Sir Bob. And Sir Bob, you indicated, was a friend of yours, correct?
He is a friend who wanted to learn the lifestyle. Yes.
Okay. And he also was a person you called while you were from the county jail, correct?
Yes, I did.
And he was a person that you had talked to Mr. Falconelli about having some business interests with you and Mr. Falconelli. Is that correct?
I don't recall.
Okay. You don't recall writing a letter telling Mr. Falconelli to get in touch with Bob Goddard, or telling Bob Goddard to get in touch with Mr. Falconelli for some business opportunities?
About what? I don't recall sending a letter, or if I did, then I did. I don't recall that. No.
Now, when you went to trial for the murder of Jane, you didn't know of any bad blood between you and Mr. Goddard. Is that correct?
No,
That you and Mr. Goddard were friends, correct?
we were.
Mr. Goddard came in here and testified
Yes.
that in the summer of 2011, you approached him and asked him, did he know of anybody who could rough up a tenant? Do you remember that?
That's not true.
I'm asking you, do you remember him saying that?
I remember him saying that, yes.
Okay. Now, given the fact you said he was a friend and there was no bad blood between you, why do you think he said that?
Talk of speculation.
Okay.
Move on.
But there was no reason that you know of for him to make that up on you. Is that correct?
Well, he said it out of context. That wasn't what happened.
Okay. So let me just get this straight. Did the words come out of your mouth?
What words?
You wanted him to rough up a tenant.
No.
You said you took it out of context. I guess I got confused about what do you mean. How did he take it out of context?
Would you like me to explain?
If you could.
Okay. Bob Goddard and I had lunch on a regular basis. A number of times when we had lunch, we talked about rentals. He and I were engaged in some rental business as far as him repairing. He repaired one of my Mac properties where Missy Keller
Can
lived.
we stop right now? I just want to know, did a
No,
conversation take place about roughing up a tenant? That's all I want to know.
Did that ever happen? Yes. or
no, it
Okay,
didn't.
fine.
What did happen, let me finish if I may.
No. That's the questions on the floor, okay? So we're beyond that question. Go ahead.
Okay.
So, how, taking it out of context, if those words were never said, there was nothing for him to take out of context. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. If you, let me just finish my explanation. Okay?
No, you may not.
Okay.
Now, let's talk a little bit about Tom Ramsey.
About whom?
Tom Ramsey.
Okay.
Tom Ramsey was a tenant of yours, is that correct?
He was.
And you also know that he was a witness in the solicitation case, is that correct?
I don't know that.
You did not see the paperwork on your solicitation case?
I don't recall seeing the transcripts, no.
But at any rate, you had him evicted immediately after you were charged with solicitation.
No, I did not. Dean Valenti, did the eviction. I served him with papers
Sir, let me stop
prior
you
to the,
there. Let me just stop you there, sir. Did you, in a jail call, ask your cousin, Stephanie, to have him evicted? Yes or no?
no,
You said that never happened.
no. What I said was,
Sir,
I'm
saying,
evicting him.
Sir, the question is, you saying that conversation never happened? Yes or no? That's a simple yes or no.
I had a conversation with Stephanie
Sir,
about the
that's a
eviction
simple yes
of
or
Thomas.
no. Yes or no? No, he can answer yes or no.
All right, what's your question? Repeat the question.
Did you have a phone conversation with your cousin Stephanie Samuel after you were locked up concerning the eviction of Tom Ramsey?
Yes.
or no?
Okay. Did you have a conversation with a family member about the press conference that Kim Worthy had done as it relates to your solicitation case?
I don't recall.
Did you? You don't recall. Would it surprise you to know that you did in fact have that conversation where you referenced Kim Worthy saying that there were 2 witnesses in the solicitation case? You recall that now?
I don't recall that, but it wouldn't surprise me. Again, at that point, I was numb.
Okay, at this point, we're going to stop. We've got a lot ahead of us, and tomorrow, do my docket. Can attorneys come in at 1?
Yeah.
You got something?
No. Yeah.
Attorneys Is that the 17th? Sit down, Mr. Bashara. What's the next day? The demand standards.
I would have to change some things around.
Could you do this?
My problem, I'm supposed to be, I have. No, I mean, 29 Circuit Court at 9 o'clock. Kelly, when is Howard 23rd?
Yeah.
No.
All right, here's one.
Oh, she's in school?
Let that judge know I'm a pig, and if we gotta, if we're not finished, we may still be there on Monday, okay?
Okay.
But hopefully we won't be, all right?
All right.
Okay, very good. The court is gonna recess, I'll see everybody tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That concludes Saturday. Thank you. How much more would you say you had in the front? 2 hours ago.
I think I can be finished tomorrow.
Very good, thank you. All right. Where's the Lisa?